That's what happens when you try to smoke baking powder.
It's paper.
Oh.
Don't worry, it's paper.
Christmas time! Woo!
Christmas! I need to take off my jacket.
Yeah, I gotta put this piano away here. We have so many things that we're gonna talk about today. Christmas related. We're gonna make some gingerbread houses. I bought some gingerbread houses from the store. We are gonna. I wrote a short story. So just like Jordan did for the Halloween one, we're gonna sip on some. Mine is out of frame.
I got a penguin.
And I have jolly old Saint Nick.
Look at that.
Look at him. I'll sip on
Cheers.
some. Oh. See, I learned this last time not to sip a steaming beverage. No. Could feel it coming for me.
What else?
We are going to probably just talk about all things Christmas. I mean, sledding, candy, canes, lights.
Snowball fight.
Oh. And maybe snowball fights as well. You know, I've never had earmuffs on before, but they're really comfortable. Okay. And they're like, they make me feel so safe.
Earmuffs? Are we talking about earmuffs now?
Yes, I was just saying that they make me feel so safe.
Earmuffs
Like
are
the hands of a strong man.
just Shaquille
cradling-
O'Neal cupping your ears.
cradling my cheeks.
I'd buy the Shaq muffs.
The Shaq muffs.
The Shaq muffs,
That's
they're
a
just
good
shake-
product. They're
yeah.
just Shaquille O'Neal's hands. Dude, they probably go from like. I bet you Shaq could palm somebody like off the ground.
Oh yeah.
Like if
Most people's heads are smaller than a basketball.
Yeah, and he could definitely palm a basketball. Plus,
Yeah.
he's pretty strong. Yeah, I feel like, well, maybe not now. I don't know. But
What?
I feel like in his prime, Shaq could just like walk up to people and like put his hand around their face and like lift them off the ground. Man.
Scientists of the world, everyone in the YouTube comments, I want to see the mathematicians out here, the real Reddit mathematicians.
Figure out the leverage
Yeah.
that Shaq would need to generate.
How many months old of a baby do you think is the max that Shaq could hold up with one hand?
I'm going to go 26 years. I'm going to say
26?
a 26-year-old baby. You don't think Shaq could
A
lift?
26-year-old baby?
Which is a person, yes. That is what I am implying.
I don't think he could lift. How much grip strength does he have? Anyways, figure that out. Comment it. Let us know.
And
anyone who guesses
Shaq.
it,
Shaq, you can lift me.
anyone who gets it, Levi will send you $1,000 in the mail, and that's a guarantee.
But to prove it, you have to have Shaq lift a person of that size.
Yeah,
So I'm not doing it without video evidence.
Shaq, if you're watching this,
If you can get Shaq to palm a baby, though,
with the amount of sponsorships that Shaq does, I'm honestly sure that we could get $1,000 for Shaq to lift a full-sized human by the head.
by the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we should clarify though, the person needs to still be alive
At the end. At the end.
because I feel like being your entire body weight being put on your neck.
Maybe we do a...
You might get taller. Yeah.
Okay. So all my short kings out there.
Oh my, me. Shaq,
So-
please lift me by the head like him. What are we talking about?
So we're talking about Shaquille O'Neal. What's more Christmassy than that?
Okay.
I know this is a controversial opinion. Controversial opinion. I love Christmas. I know it's in today's society and with PC culture,
You can't
know,
say
you can't-
opinions like that on the internet, man.
You're not allowed to love anything more. This goddamn generation is taking all my. No, but I really do love Christmas, and I also just like winter time holiday in general.
Yeah.
I mean, like I celebrate Christmas because I'm an American, not because I'm Christian. I have no religious background.
Same
I
at
just
all.
do it because it's like the culture in America.
Yeah.
and it's fun.
As a predominantly Iranian person, I guess 50% isn't predominantly. What's
I don't know.
marginally, predominantly? What's the middle?
Evenly.
As an evenly Iranian person, I have no ties to Christmas per se, but it's just an American holiday at this point.
It's an American
This is America.
This is America.
Yeah, you got to celebrate Christmas because, to be honest, like, does this have anything to do with the Bible? No,
No,
not at all.
no. Well, Santa doesn't have anything to do with the Bible, obviously.
I haven't read it, so I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
That's
Genesis.
a good point, actually.
Uh,
Yeah, he's probably in the Old Testament.
Old
Yeah.
Testament. I want to see Old Testament Santa Claus because if Old Testament God is like
Is
way
really strict and
Yeah.
intense. What do you think Old Testament Santa's
Krampus.
doing?
Definitely
that's
Krampus.
That
Yeah,
is
for sure.
Krampus.
Okay.
Totally. Okay. Well, we solved that mystery.
we solved that.
Yeah, I like Christmas because it's winter. Winter is not a fun time. It's cold. You can't go outside. It's not very fun inherently. So I like winter holidays because it's a clear effort by humanity to be like, no, guys, we can still enjoy our lives. And even though seasonal depression will run rampant, it's nice to be like, lights.
Yeah. And that's why in the good city of Seattle, they should keep Christmas trees up all year.
All year long.
Because-
Probably from September to March.
Yeah. September to March. Yeah.
September to March.
Ugh, the days here are so short.
I know. It's like, it's already dark.
It's
Oh,
already
that's the-
dark here.
it's-
We are
that's the-
filming earlier than usual, too. So,
I was gonna say it's dark outside, but I realized that's just your neighbor's black painted wall. Oh.
it really simulates the Christmas season.
Yeah. So I like Christmas because it's such a fun way to be like, it's fun and silly and happy. And even though it sucks outside and we're all sad, we have this thing to focus our energy on.
Well, for me, I mean, I love Christmas the most. Not the most out of anyone, but
I like it the most.
I like it the most. You can't prove me wrong.
I like it more
prove
than
me wrong.
I'm more of a fan of Christmas than Jesus. It goes me, Jesus, and then probably some lady in the Midwest. that's
Christmas
really into it.
bigger than Jesus.
Bigger than.
I don't know. I just love the nostalgia. I love the aesthetic of it. It's
You're a
so-
very aesthetic centered person.
me.
Yes, you are a very aesthetic centered person.
What are you talking about? I don't follow. I don't follow how I'm.
The Christmas aesthetic, well, I feel like that's why if I were to take an armchair psychology prod at your holidays, your favorites are Halloween is number 1, and then what's number 2?
No, I like Christmas better than Halloween.
Oh, you do?
yeah, clearly. I don't know.
I don't know. You were decked out for Halloween too.
I was. I had less time to prep. This was printed out yesterday. All the posters.
Well, I don't know. I think part of the reason that you might like Christmas and Halloween so much is because of the distinct aesthetic
Yes.
that comes along with
Yes,
it.
exactly.
Like all the other holidays, no, I don't think any other holidays really have an aesthetic.
They don't have enough to transform an entire room into looking completely different because you can fill it with so much Christmas stuff. You've got the Nutcracker, you've got Santa, you've got snowmen, you've got little penguins, you've got lights. Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day is pretty good. I like the Valentine's Day
What
aesthetic.
what are you talking about?
It's red.
It's red. It's just, do you know what else is red? Christmas. Boom.
No, Christmas is red and green.
All
and
Valentine's Day has is Cupid and
Hearts.
hearts.
It's hearts.
I was gonna say hearts and Cupid. You cut me off.
I like the
What else is there?
The
There's nothing
Valentine's
you
Day
can't-
aesthetic is pretty fun, though.
If I were to decorate this our little studio for Valentine's Day, what would even be the posters? Just hearts
you
everywhere.
would just cover it in pink and red and purple hearts.
yeah.
That's cute. I don't know. I like that, but it's not. But see, and this is where my theory gets real and confirmed, because there is an aesthetic to Valentine's Day. It's just pink and hearts, but that's not enough for you, because you're a true man of aesthetic. You need a diversity of options and a way to stylize in a personal way. If you go to Jordan's living room at Christmas time and you go to someone else's living room at Christmas time, and they're both Christmas aesthetic people, they'll probably look very different. There'll be some similarities, but they'll each have their own style. But if they were both doing it on Valentine's Day, it's not going to look that much different.
Thank you for backing me up.
You have no individualism
Yes.
in Valentine's Day, whereas
Yes.
Christmas and Halloween, you have complete freedom of choice
Exactly.
in the aesthetic.
By the way, all the B-roll that we'll be showing this episode is taken in my living room.
It's over that way.
Yeah.
So,
It is located at 15
okay, all right.
apartment E1 Washington 98. In case you want to come and see it.
That's wild. Why would you do that? What if I forget? What if I forget to bleep that? Just such a bad decision. You should never do that. Don't do that.
My social security number is 13. Oh wait, I got it wrong. 2.
Oh, wait, I got it wrong. It's
Christmas
so
is the season of
wild.
giving. What's your favorite Christmas side character though? Because I feel like Santa's the big one.
Side character.
Like Frosty, is it Rudolph?
Oh. It's the guy who sings Silver and Gold in Rudolph.
Burl Ives?
Burl Ives.
Burl Ives is pretty
yeah.
sick.
I like the miner. Is that a separate character though?
That's a separate character.
I do like both of those guys.
Burl Ives was in Joker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did Smile, though your heart is aching, smile. You know, in the trailer? He wasn't in Joker. Burl Ives. Can you imagine Joker and then the snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is like, well, Joker was off on one of his schemes again.
Oh, does Burl Ives narrate?
Yeah, he narrates it.
Okay,
And he does
that's
the
pretty
songs.
sick.
Yeah.
we love him. But I will say the miner is fun because he's got like a. Burl Ives is more of the like, he has that fatherly affection
That
But
you're
the-
so
that I'm so
desperately
desperate
missing.
for. I'm so desperate for. Not only during
That's
Christmas,
what I
but,
like
but all
Christmas
year
for.
round.
Is the father figures.
That's actually why Christmas is my favorite, because I'm incredibly fatherless and just, Santa, Burl Ives,
Burl Ives is number 2.
Rudolph, all the men that I'm missing, all the strong men that I'm missing in my life really come out this time of year.
Thank you so much for getting this, Levi.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
I will say I do personally enjoy building the gingerbread house myself, but we don't have time for that, unfortunately, on this podcast, because you got to set it up and then you got to let it dry. So,
Shout out to Signature Select.
okay, before I go into the short story, I do want to just say I had another moment that made me realize that we need to bring bullying back, and it was almost the exact same situation as I talked about last time on the podcast.
Oh, really?
The person who was helping me at the grocery store that will remain unnamed, I went over to this guy and I was like, hey, do you have any gingerbread houses in stock? And he was like, nah, I don't know, like talking to me, and like he had food in his mouth. Like his mouth was full of food as he's talking to me, and he's eating, putting more food into his already full mouth as he's just like looking at me. I look down at his hands, and he just has a handful of white rice, and he's just eating rice.
White rice?
I don't know what. Like it was like white sticky rice in his palm, and he's just. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
I'm dreaming.
Anyways, I just felt the urge in that moment. I just felt the urge
just
to
wanted to
close his mouth. I just to close his mouth for him.
That's a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank
I got to
you.
cut off the tip of this.
Despite this being a Christian holiday, we're gonna do a little circumcision.
What is more Christian on this wonderful holiday than circumcision?
Cutting the tip. I just made that joke when you walked out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Great minds.
Wow. We've been doing this for too long.
December 25th is a very special holiday for people all around the world. So special that it makes the day before, December 24th, a holiday of its own. For most people, December 23rd has no particular meaning beyond the growing anticipation it brings for the following days. But December 23rd was a very important day for the McAllisons. So important that they had taken the liberty of covering every available surface in the house, from the empty ice cube trays to the pipes under bathroom sinks, with sticky notes to remind themselves of the date. Shoe racks, potted plants.
Are they okay? Do they have like... Okay.
They're fine. Sorry. No, okay. You're allowed to jump in.
I think if you need sticky notes to remind you what day Christmas is...
No, December 23rd.
Oh, okay.
December 23rd. Okay. Shoe racks, potted plants, windowsills, and the dresser drawers of all 12 McAllison children were labeled with small pink pieces of paper that read December 23rd, 10 a.m., flight to Hawaii. At 2:23 a.m. on December 23rd, on the smallest block of the smallest suburb in Chicago, the glowing lights of every street lamp, porch light, and Christmas tree suddenly went dark. 19 and a half miles away, the unfortunate man to have been assigned the night shift at the Chicago City Light Department stood back up, having retrieved the ham and Swiss sandwich that he had dropped, and noticed the switch he had brushed while bending over. He flipped it back from red to black, dusted off his sandwich, and took a bite. Every bulb in the suburb blinked back to life, breathing a sigh of relief. And as they stood shining through the falling snow, they found themselves joined by a new set of cheery blinking lights, the displays on microwaves, ovens, and alarm clocks across their home that all danced in a synchronized pattern. 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock. On the morning of December 23rd, Stacy McAllison woke to a sunbeam that had fallen across her cheek, cutting through the tiniest of cracks in the blinds. She rolled toward her nightstand, where she was greeted by the same blinking display that had been waiting for her all night. 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Many people don't know this about Stacy McAllison, but around 12 years ago, Stacy McAllison was an incredibly talented singer. She had studied voice in college after singing for much of her childhood, often sitting alongside her grandmother at the piano. Upon graduating, she joined a touring opera, singing across much of Europe, Asia, and even briefly in Sydney. She later settled into a domestic lifestyle, and while she hums to herself on her way to work or when her husband plays on the piano, she has largely let her vocal talents lie. But on that morning, staring into her blanking digital display and realizing what has occurred, Stacy inhaled, expanding her diaphragm ever so gracefully, leveled her head, and paused. The scream that cut through the McAllisons' home woke 11 children instantly, who shot up in bed, whipped around to their own clocks, and came to the same conclusion that Stacy had come to just moments ago. They were very, very late. In the flurry of half-packed suitcases and half-dressed children, it was a wonder that Stacy found the keys to her van at all. And in what must have been world record time, Stacy, her husband, and 11 children had sped down the highway, parked the car.
11 children? Damn! Damn, Stacy, you had time in touring Europe, Asia, and being an opera singer to do that?
Stacy is that bitch.
Stacy's got her life together.
And in what must have been world record time, Stacy, her husband, and all 11 children had sped down the highway, parked the car, pushed through security, buckled their seatbelts, and taken off to a tropical paradise approximately 9 hours and 2 minutes away. Though the feat was impressive, it would have been slightly more so if all 12 of the McAllison children had managed to make it to the van. Devin McAllison, who had recently moved to the basement to give his older sister her own room, a decision which his parents explained was to let her get sleep, though Devin felt that anybody who spent that much time in bed doing nothing should really spend more time playing with him anyways.
How old is Devin?
I'll let you decide for yourself.
I'm starting to notice some parallels to a few.
Really?
The McAllistons is a little bit of an inspired name.
Oh, well, that's interesting. But through the thick concrete walls of his new abode, he did not hear the scream that all 11 other children did. And when he woke up, no one in his family was anywhere to be found. While searching from room to room and door to door, wondering where they could possibly be, Devin heard a voice at the back of the home. He ran over, relieved to have found someone, but as he approached his back door, he slid to a stop, gliding across waxed floors in his bleached white socks. There were 2 voices on the other side of the door, and he did not know either of them.
Yep, they're all out of town. There's nobody to see us coming. We'll come back tomorrow night and get all those presents under the tree.
The voices cackled, fading as the footsteps that carried them padded towards distant snow. Devin knew what he had heard. The 2 strangers were going to come on Christmas Eve and take all of the presents that Santa would leave for him and his family under the tree. Devin loved his family very much, and his presents even more, and he wasn't going to let anything happen to either of them. So Devin came up with a plan. Over the next 2 days, Devin prepared, gathering the craggy shoe glue from his dad's drawer, the unused hairspray from his older sister's bathroom, and the strings of red firecrackers under his brother's bed, all of which he was ready to use to defend his home. He set traps of every kind for the intruders, at every entrance and on every floor. There was no way that they were getting away with their devious present-thieving plot. But just as the last domino in his elaborate plan had been laid, Devin had a new idea. In the dead of night on December 24th, Devin lay in wait for the intruders. Sitting on his bed, he heard a clattering at the front door. They must have sprung his first trap. Devin rushed upstairs, and there they were, the 2 thieves he had been expecting. One short and stout, the other tall and lanky, and both with an armful of presents. Devin whipped around and saw that not a single box or bow was laying beneath his Christmas tree. They had already taken all of the presents. No. Devin pointed his father's Glock 17 at the intruders.
Whoa, Devin!
And pulled the trigger. The recoil sent the gun flying out of Devin's hands, and he scrambled over to pick it off the hall rug before turning to face the thieves again. But there was only one thief to be seen. He was lying flat on his face, a pool of blood growing outward from his chest, seeping into the satin bows of the presents that lay scattered around him. Devin leaped over the corpse and out the front door to see the second criminal fleeing down the sidewalk of unplowed snow. He steadied himself, took aim, and fired. He held the gun firm this time and watched as a spray of blood shot from the thief's shoulder on over the white landscape. The man spun, landing in the snow, and was still. Walking slowly down the porch steps and in the snowy footsteps the man had just laid, Devin approached him. The thief's breath came in small, shallow stutters, puffs of hot air clouding above his face as he lay looking up into the streetlight above him. Your sister... Devin stopped. Your sister is sick. The thief tried to raise his head to look at Devin, but gave up, falling back into the snow. Devin walked over, looking down at him. I'm here for her. I'm here for her. His hand shook as he unzipped his jacket, revealing the name Jack sewn onto his pale blue sweater, just above a curling white logo that read, "Make a Wish." In the distance, Devin heard a car approaching, its tires crunching over the rock salt scattered on the asphalt. He looked up to see a car pull down the street, turn away from him, and park on the corner. Two women in the same pale blue sweaters got out of the van, walking to the back. And as they opened the double doors, Devin saw what looked like hundreds of presents inside, stacked from floor to ceiling. A family vacation to Hawaii and 1 million Christmas presents? Now that's a last wish I think we can all get behind.
Oh my God!
The other woman laughed. Poor thing deserves it with all the chemo she's been through. I can't wait to see her face when she walks in and sees all the work we've done. They both grabbed an armful of presents out from the van and turned walking towards the house. It was only then that they noticed the man lying in the snow. Jack? There was no answer. Jack! Presents fell into the powdered snow as the woman ran towards the man lying below the streetlight. They fell beside him, shaking him, begging him to wake up. But the only breath in the air around them was their own. And as they finally raised their heads from his chest to look around, there was nobody else to be seen on the smallest block of the smallest suburb in Chicago.
Well, that was horrifying. And do you know what? I'm just gonna finish this off now because my God, Levi, that is possibly the darkest you've ever gone.
Yeah, that was pretty
this.
dark though. But I put some pretty good details in there. Wow, you really.
Okay, and then.
Did you know? I will say I was pretty happy with some of the details that I put in there, though.
Like, okay, what was the? Tell me the build. What are the details you may have missed in this story?
Well, there's a family vacation to Hawaii.
Okay.
The main two details that I put in to kind of ever so slightly foreshadow this was Kevin had recently been moved to his own room so that his sister could get sleep because she spends time lying in bed all day.
Wow.
And when Kevin is grabbing all of the supplies to set the traps for his so-called thieves, one of the items, along with the craggly shoe glue and string of red firecrackers, is the unused hairspray from his older sister's bathroom.
God.
Yeah.
You should make this into a real movie, Home Alone 5.
Home Alone 5.
What would the tagline be?
Home Alone 5, Last Wish.
Last Wish. Well, that
Anyways,
was Jesus.
Yeah, I know that was pretty dark, but I was actually pretty proud of it.
Oh, it's very well written.
Thanks. I thought it was fun.
Jesus Christ. I mean,
it's an original take on the Home Alone series, at least.
Okay, and since Levi's story was shorter than expected.
Shorter? It was 3 pages.
I tried my best with this.
I think it looks
beautiful
great.
Christmas gingerbread house.
We can call it Post-Katrina Christmas.
Okay, buddy, hold off there on the jokes. Jeez.
I'm just out here. I'm out here having fun.
You're being your truthful self. Okay, well,
Great job, Jordan.
Thank you. I'm gonna take a bite out of this.
It's really leaning into the post-Katrina Christmas the more you eat.
Welcome back. Now that we're done with Levi's short story,
Are you ever really done with it, though? I feel like it's something that might stick with you.
It's definitely gonna stay in my mind. That's never leaving.
Good. That was the goal.
Today's history corner is going to take us to Sweden.
Oh, I love that place.
Yes, and just for context, I usually like to do a lot of research into primary sources. For this one, I am going to be reading a lot directly from Wikipedia, but it's not due to laziness. It's because it is one of the most unhinged Wikipedia articles I've ever read. And I think it's important that you hear it straight from the source that I got it from, because
Right.
it's very well done. So, this takes place in Gavle, Sweden, which is the 13th largest city in Sweden. The city was founded in 1413, and in 1569, a fire destroyed a lot of the archaeological records of Gavle from the Middle Ages. This is important. Fire is going to come back. Over the last 300 years, Gavle has been ablaze on 3 occasions. After the fire of 1776, the town was rebuilt with straight streets and rectangular city blocks. The number of stone and brick houses also started to increase at this time. The biggest town fire occurred in 1869, when out of a population of around 10,000, approximately 8,000 inhabitants lost their home,
Oh my God.
and about 350 farms were destroyed. Almost,
So 80%.
yes,
Jesus.
80% of all houses were destroyed. Almost the whole town north of Gavlen was burnt down. All of the buildings south of Gavlen were saved. After the catastrophe of the fire, Gavle developed its characteristic grid plan with large esplanades and green areas. It is now a green town with wide avenues. Stopping the spread of future town fires was the main idea behind this development.
Right.
So, this town, Gavle, has a tradition.
Is it lighting everything in sight on fire?
No. Every year, they create a massive Christmas goat out of hay that they have in their main center, and I'll show you a picture of it right here.
Oh my God, it's so big.
It's big. We're getting on to why it's this big. Who came up with the original idea to build the world's largest straw goat isn't really well known, but it's generally considered to come from this advertising man in Sweden called Stig Galvin. Others think it may have been a TV-like man or a chairman of the Merchant Association, or there's a few people who've thought about making a straw goat, but this guy is the one who drew it on the napkin.
Okay. Oh, there's proof?
Yeah, there's proof. We know that he drew the first drawing of the goat. So it begins.
I just wanna. I'm just gonna hop in here if that's okay.
Okay.
I'm not a historian. I don't know a lot about history, but I am good at jumping to conclusions.
Okay.
And if I were to jump to a conclusion about why you're telling me about this, why you might be telling me about the town that has repeatedly been set on fire, that every year builds a massive structure out of one of the most flammable substances they could possibly have choose, I would guess that there's going to be some goat-related fires throughout the story, but who knows?
Oh, just
knows?
Just a couple here and there, perhaps.
Okay.
So, and I would like to say that the goat is built by the fire department.
Oh, so it's safe. So it's a
Yes.
safe, massive
Totally.
funeral pyre, essentially.
The fire department erected the goat every year from 1966 to 1970 and from 1986 to 2002. And on December 1st, 1966, a 43-foot tall, 23-foot long, 3-ton goat was erected in the square. On New Year's Eve, the goat was burned down, and the perpetrator was found
Purposely? Oh.
and convicted of vandalism.
vandalism?
The goat was insured, and the person who built it got all their money back.
That seems like a really light charge for that level of fire, but...
At this point, the best thing to do is to go through the timeline.
Okay.
So,
Great. Let's do that.
1967, the goat survived. 1968, there was a fence added, and the goat survived.
There was a fence. Wait, you're saying that people could just walk up to the goat
Oh, yeah.
beforehand?
No, you could totally just walk up to the goat.
That is very much the 60s. They're like, yeah, why would anybody do something bad? Why would they do that?
In 1969, the inside of the goat was protected by chicken wire netting, and it was burned down on December 31st. In 1970, the goat was burned down by 2 drunk teenagers 6 hours after it was built. In 1971, the goat was smashed to pieces. It was
what?
absolutely destroyed. And the club who made it was the Southern Merchants, and they got tired of building them because they kept being set on fire or destroyed. So the Natural Science Club from the School of Vasa took over and built a smaller goat. In 1972, it collapsed.
Oh no, the science people fucked it up? Oh, that's embarrassing.
In 1973, the goat was stolen by a man who placed it in his backyard.
How is that even possible?
This Natural Science Club was built a smaller goat because the other one didn't want a big
I
one.
see,
Yeah.
I see.
He was later sentenced to 2 years in prison for aggravated theft.
Oh my god.
So think about that.
So
like,
they're really scaling up the punishment of messing with the goat.
this is the 6th time something has happened to the goat
They're not messing around.
in 8 years.
They're very serious about this goat situation.
In 1974, the goat caught on fire. In 1975, it collapsed under its own weight. In 1976, it was hit by a car, by a local student. The student rammed the hind legs of the goat with a Volvo Amazon, collapsing the
God.
structure.
That's so funny.
In 1977, it caught on fire. In 1978, it was kicked to pieces. Apparently kicked to pieces.
How is that even possible?
Hang on, I'm going to the primary source on this because I need to see what they mean by kicked. It's in Sweden. I can't read this. Okay, never mind. Sad. Okay, where were we at? Kicked to pieces. In 1979, the first goat was burned, and a second one was fireproofed, but it was burned down before construction even finished. And a second goat was constructed and finished, but later was destroyed and broken into pieces. I feel like now it is important to mention the two different entities that are creating this goats. So,
God.
Since-
and
1986, there have been 2 Yule goats built in Gavle. The Gavle goat by the Southern Merchants and the Yule goat built by the Natural Science Club of the School of Vasa.
so there's 2 massive goats being built every year.
Yes, but the Natural Science Club's goat is smaller. So you can see a picture here that shows them constructing the smaller goat.
Oh,
and that's the big goat in the background.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
It's still really big though.
So until 1985, the Southern Merchants held the world record for the largest Yule goat, but over the years, the Natural Science Club's goat increased in size. And in 1985, their Yule goat made it into the Guinness Books of World Records with an official height of 12.5 meters, 41 feet.
Ooh.
The original creator of the goat thought that the Natural Science Club's goat had unfairly won the title of the largest Yule goat because the goat was not as attractive as the Southern Merchant's goat, and the neck was excessively long. So they basically stretched out the neck to hit that amount, which fair enough. The next year there was a goat war. The Southern Merchants understood the publicity value and erected a huge goat. The Natural Science Club erected a smaller one in protest. The Southern Merchants had intended that their huge goat would reclaim the world record, but the measurement of the goat fell short. Over the 7 years, there were no further attempts on the world record, but there was some hostility between the Natural Science Club and the Southern Merchants, evidenced by the fact that the Natural Science Club put up a sign near their goat wishing a Merry Christmas to everyone except the Southern Merchants. In 1993, the Southern Merchants again announced that they were going to attempt the world record. Their goat stood at 34 feet when completed. The Natural Science Club's Yule goat that year measured 49 feet, which earned them another place in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Wow.
So in between all this destruction and chaos, they're fighting over who can build the largest goat.
I love it.
So,
It's so petty.
yeah, it's so petty.
It's so petty.
Merry Christmas to everyone except the people who built the other goat.
That's awesome, actually.
We're moving into the 80s. 1980, destroyed by fire on Christmas Eve. 1981, it survived. 1982, it was burnt on the 13th of December. In 1983, the legs were destroyed. 1984, it was burned down on the 12th of December. In 1985, it was enclosed by 2 meters, 6.6 foot high metal fence guarded by security guards and soldiers from the 14th Infantry Regiment.
So they eventually, it only took them 2 decades, but they were like,
Yeah.
you know, this goat keeps getting burnt, destroyed, or stolen. We should really do something
Yeah.
about that.
It burnt down.
How is it? Wait, okay. I don't understand. Why does it keep?
It's a tradition. I guess.
It feels like at this point it's just like. It's like, yeah, if you build your massive goat out of flammable material, it's going to get burnt. Why don't they just build it out of, like, I don't know, like something wet or, I don't know, something not flammable.
1986, burned down on the 23rd of December. In 1987, it was heavily fireproofed. They were like, we cannot let another fire happen. It caught on fire. In 1988...
No, stop. How? How is it catching on fire every year? I don't get it. I don't understand what is happening.
In 1986, gamblers were able for the first time to gamble on the fate of the goat.
No,
Yeah.
that seems like that is really opening the door to more goat burning.
But it survived that year, so I'd hate to be one of the gamblers that voted against it. In 1989, it was burned down prior to assembly, and then financial contributions from the public were raised to rebuild the goat, and the second goat was burnt down in January. In March 1990, another goat was built, this time for the shooting of a Swedish motion picture called Blackjack. That's cool. In 1990, it survived, and the only security additions mentioned is that the goat was guarded by many volunteers.
Oh, so it was community-based.
Yeah. In 1991, the goat was joined by an advertising sled that turned out to be illegally built. It was later rebuilt to be taken to Stockholm as part of a protest campaign against the closing of the 14th Infantry Regiment, which, by the way, was the one that protected the goat. It burned down on Christmas Eve that year. In 1992, both the Natural Science Club and the Southern Merchants goats burned down on the same night. The latter was rebuilt and burned down on the 20th of December.
Oh my God.
The perpetrator of the 3 attacks was caught and sent to jail. The Goat Committee was founded in 1992.
The Goat Committee. No way. Oh, this is so awesome. By the way, every time it burns down, is it a person burning it down every time? Like, it has to.
Yeah, it has to be a person burning it down every time. Yeah, it's some, like, people playing a practical joke of arson. In 1993, it was guarded by taxis.
Taxis?
Yeah. Let me see that there's a clarification needed here. Oh, there's no clarification. Okay. And the Swedish Home Guard. And it survived. In 1994, it also survived. In 1995, a Norwegian man was arrested for attempting to burn down the goat.
A foreigner.
I know. It was rebuilt for the 550th anniversary of the Gävleborg County. It was burned down on December 25th. In 1996, it was monitored by webcams. We're moving into the
modern era.
Yeah, modern era. In 1997, it was damaged by fireworks, and the Natural Science Club's goat was attacked too, but both survived with minor damage. In 1998, it was burned down during a major blizzard, which is so funny to me, and it was rebuilt, and was burned down on the 11th of December.
God, it's so funny that every time it gets rebuilt, it gets burnt down again.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
In 1999, this is really funny. The date of destruction is set at in Wikipedia as within hours.
Oh my God.
Which I think is so funny.
Wait. Sorry, I haven't seen the Wikipedia article. There's a column for date of destruction.
Yeah, method of
No!
destruction, security additions,
This
and
is
notes.
awesome.
Yeah, this is one of
should
my
make that
favorite
into a
Wikipedia
poster.
articles ever. Yeah. This is why I cannot, I could look into, primary sources for this, but you can see why, for this History Corner specifically, you need to go through the Wikipedia,
The Wikipedia
that's available.
is
Yeah.
extensive, though. That's why it's so great.
Yeah, exactly. If this were I almost did the Norman Conquest because that took place on Christmas, but that would require a lot of research, and this is more Christmassy and funny.
Yes. And hilarious, yes.
Yeah. So we are at 1999, which was burnt down within hours, and both the Southern Merchants and Natural Science Club's goat were burnt down. 2000. We're moving into the new millennia, Y2K. So it was burnt down. In addition to the Southern Merchants goat being burnt, the Natural Science Club's goat was thrown into the Goblet River, which we're shaking it up. We're making it a bit different. 2001, possibly the worst disaster to happen in 2001 is that the Goblet goat was burnt down again in the 23rd of December by a visitor.
I think universally we can agree that is probably the worst thing to happen that year.
Yeah. A visitor from Cleveland, Ohio, was arrested for burning the goat.
That's awesome. International
Terrorism.
The worst international terrorist incident.
The Natural Science Club's goat also burned down. Sir, the second goat has been burned
The second goat
has fallen.
No. Fuck. That's so messed
Can you
up.
imagine the Goblet,
Oh my God.
mayor sitting down?
He's reading Christmas stories. Okay, yeah. And then the goat.
Sir, the other goat has burned down.
Sir, there was a second goat.
Okay.
Awesome.
2002.
Super duper awesome.
A 22-year-old from Stockholm tried to set the Southern Merchants goat on fire, but failed. The goat receiving only minor damage. Congratulations.
Woo, nice job.
The goat was guarded by Swedish radio and TV personality Gert Fickling, who I don't know who he is, but good for him.
You're putting your whole persona on the line to save this goat. That's a big commitment. Did the goat get burned down?
No, it survived.
Oh, see? They didn't want to mess with him. That's the way to do it.
2003, burnt down. A second goat was put up a week after the first one burned down. The second goat survived without any known incidents. 2004, burned 21st of December. 2005, it was burned down on the 3rd of December. It was burnt by unknown vandals, reportedly dressed as Santa and the gingerbread man by shooting a flaming arrow at the goat.
Awesome.
It was reconstructed on the 5th of December. The hunt for the arsonist responsible for the goat burning in 2005 was featured on the weekly Swedish live broadcasts Most Wanted on the 8th of December. 2006, it survived New Year's Eve and was taken down on the 2nd of January. It is now stored in a secret location.
Oh.
Meanwhile, the Natural Science Club's goat was burned down. 2007, it survived. The Natural Science Club's goat was toppled on the 13th of December and was burned on the 24th night of December. But the Southern Merchants goat survived. Do you know what? The more I think about it, what if this is all done by the Natural Science Clubs and the Southern Merchants?
Well, you
trying
wonder.
to...
This is what I was going to bring up. Is like you wonder if it just keeps getting burned down. Why do they keep doing it? It's obviously because it must be a huge tourist draw, and the people like the businesses rely on it because it
is.
brings people around. But now it feels like if you were smart after the first 4 to 9 times of the goat being burnt down, you would realize after you started to gain some animosity that people actually like there's hype around whether it's going to survive or not.
Yeah.
So like you do all of your effort to make sure that it's like, oh, the goat must survive. Like we're the people, but then you got a man on the inside. You know, like if you're either of those people and you really want the tradition to keep going because everyone loves you for the tradition, like, yeah, of course you're gonna kind of like I feel like it would be natural to conspire to make it. Sometimes it burns down, sometimes not.
Well,
but that's just a theory.
you know, I went to Disneyland this year, and have you ever seen what the tiki room looks like there? You know, like the straw
I
top.
don't think so.
Well,
no.
The tiki room in Disneyland has a lot of like a straw roof to look like it's from a tiki
From
island.
the land of Tiki.
From the land from Tiki Island, I believe it's called. But the way they get around blizzards, or not blizzards in California, but I mean windstorms, rain, etc., anything that could damage it, is they make it out of either plastic or metal. So they cut really thin metal strips and paint them to look like straw.
Yeah.
So why they aren't doing that, I have no idea. because the amount it must cost to make this every year is insane. So, I don't know. Anyways, in 2010, it survived, but arsonists made an unsuccessful attempt to burn down the Natural Science Club's goat. On the 17th of December, a Swedish news site reported that one of the guards tasked with protecting the Southern Merchant's goat had been offered payment to leave his post so that the goat could have been stolen via helicopter and transported to Stockholm. Both goats survived and were dismantled and returned to storage in early January 2011. In 2011, the goat was sprayed with water to create a coating of ice.
Yes. See,
Mild
this is the whole
weather
point I was
resulted in the protective ice melting.
Oh.
The Natural Science Club's goat was burned down, as was the Southern Merchant's goat.
Well, it was a good idea.
2012, burned down. 12th of December. In 2013, it was soaked in flame retardant. It was burned down on the 21st of December.
Wow. How much? Wow. Okay.
In 2014, at least 3 arson attempts were made. The Natural Science Club's goat also collapsed, but both goats, the Southern Merchant's goat, survived. This is where we're getting into some crazy stuff. The last 8 years. Okay. So in 2015, a 26-year-old man fleeing the scene of the burning goat with a singed face, smelling of gasoline, and holding a lighter in his hand was arrested. Under questioning, he admitted to committing the offense, adding that he was drunk at the time and that in retrospect it was, quote, an extremely bad idea. He was sentenced in January 2018 to probation by an appellate court with a $6,000 fine, not dollars, but
Whatever.
SEK fine, and $80,000 in SEK, which let's see.
$80,000 fine or bail?
It's
I didn't hear you.
So SEK, sorry, quick thing. Boo, 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 boo. What was it? This one. Okay, so it's about I'll put this in USD. It was about $600 and $8,000 in damages. The Natural Science Club's goat was also burned. 2016, it was destroyed by an arsonist equipped with petrol on its inauguration day, just hours after its 50th birthday party. Organizers said they would not rebuild the goat in 2016. The 21-year-old was sentenced to probation and was sentenced to a fine and to pay roughly $10,000 in damages.
Wow.
The evidence mainly revolved around a hat that the perpetrator dropped during his escape. The police later DNA matched it with the 21-year-old local. It was replaced by the smaller Natural Science Club goat built by local high school students. This goat was later hit by a car.
It's so funny that they just the methods of destruction are just so varied. Like everyone has their own favorite way to burn it, run into it with a car, whatever you got to do. Take that bitch down.
Okay, 2017. Take a guess what happened. I'm going to start asking you to guess what happened with each of these.
Can I get some? Okay. Well, how? Okay. Whatever.
It was the extra precautions were double fencing, cameras, and guards.
That would definitely got burned down.
It survived.
Whoa!
No reported attempts to burn down the goat were made. Probably because you have to remember the last guy who burnt it down had to pay $10,000.
Oh, so now they're they're on the punishment side of things.
The next
they're really
year,
going for 'em.
Up to the security more. Fencing, cameras, guards, taxi rank to increase the numbers of people nearby.
No, you're tempting fate. You're tempting fate. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna say something happened to it.
Survived with damaged.
Oh,
but
so there
damaged.
was an attempt.
An attempted burning of the Natural Science Club's goat occurred on the night of on the 15th of December, resulting in minor damage to its left front leg.
Crippled.
There was also an unspecified harassment incident on the 7th of December, an intrusion into the goat's enclosure on December 31st.
The goat's enclosure, like it's a real fucking
well,
goat.
I mean, it's fenced off now from someone claiming to need to use the toilet, which is so he's like, oh, I need to go.
Gonna take a shit over there next to that giant goat.
In 2019, Double fencing, 24-hour CCTV, 2 guards patrol around the goat frequently, 24 hours a day, along with a canine unit. It survived. But,
I mean, yeah, I feel like once you bring a canine into the picture, yeah, no one's going to mess with a dog. That's serious.
The Natural Science Club's goat was burned down but not destroyed. A suspect was taken into custody. This is the first time the goat survived more than 2 years in a row.
Wow.
In 2020, guards, double fence, 24-hour CCTV, public webcam fee. The goat was inaugurated on the 29th of November due to COVID-19. The inauguration was digital, and the members of the public were advised not to gather around the goat. There was no traditional celebration. The goat was not harmed, making 2020 the 4th consecutive year of the goat's survival. In 2021, it was burnt down on the 12th of December.
Hell yeah.
During the same weekend, a drunk person was caught trying to jump the fences around the larger goat. The larger goat burned in the early hours of the 17th of December. A 40-year-old man was arrested and later sentenced to 6 months in prison and ordered to pay about $10,000 in damages to the new municipality. And it survived in 2022, which is great. And in 2023, it is still standing.
Wow.
Now, there's one more year I want to talk about that somehow I missed.
Okay.
Let me just see. Okay. I must have missed some part of this because we should have talked about this. Okay. This is my favorite year. My favorite 2 years of the goats. In 2008, 10,000 people turned out for the inauguration of one of the goats. No backup goat was built to replace the main goat should the worst happen. Nor was the goat treated with flame repellent because the spokesperson of the goat committee said the repellent made it look ugly in previous years, like a brown terrier. On the 16th of December, the Natural Science Club's goat was vandalized and later removed. On the 26th of December, there was an attempt to burn down the Southern Merchants' goats, but passersby managed to extinguish the fire. The following day,
Wow, look at that. That's awesome.
The following day, the goat finally succumbed to the flames ignited by an unknown assailant at 3:50 CET. And in 2009, a person attempted to set the Southern Merchants' goat on fire on the 7th of December. An unsuccessful attempt was made to throw the Natural Science Club's goat into the river.
I love the river throwing. I really like the river throwing because it's so much of a fuck you. Like to not only because if you can throw it in the river, that means you could have burned it down. But it's such a flex to be like, actually, not only are we not going to burn it down, we're going to move the several ton goat as far away as possible and then chuck it into a river. So awesome. I'm very pro destruction.
Yeah. And then the culprit then tried again without success to set the goat on fire. Someone set the Natural Science Club's goat on fire using a truck. No, they stole it using a truck on the 14th. And on the night of the 23rd, the Southern Merchants' goat was set on fire and burned to the frame, even though it had a thick layer of snow on its back. The goat had 2 online webcams, which were put out of service by a DOS attack instigated by computer hackers just before the burning.
That's really
and
sick.
I think that's my favorite because there were hackers involved
to commit hard enough to do cybercrime.
Yeah,
is great. Like
exactly. So I don't know how I missed that, but that's Jordan's History Corner this week. Sorry it wasn't as well researched as some of the other ones, but this one, you go out, read the Wikipedia article. I basically read through it just now. It is just insane.
Maybe
one of my favorite Christmas stories
if you live
ever.
In Sweden, send a pic.
And
or burn it down.
we have to be the ones arrested to burn it down. Once we each have 10K, once we can pull together our resources to get $10,000. I mean,
we should start a GoFundMe to burn it down.
Yeah. Your gingerbread house looks great.
Thank you. I'm very happy with it.
That's what I wanted mine to look like.
Well, the back doesn't look awesome. I didn't go 360, but
let's do the compare. Hold it up. Look at that. Hang on, give me yours.
You got
what?
Okay, but don't break it.
I'm not gonna break it.
Okay.
Ow! Fuck! Ow!
Are you okay?
Oh, I burned myself.
That's God. That's God telling you.
Go-
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah.
Fine,
Yeah.
I won't burn it down.
Uh-huh. That's what I thought.
Ow.
The Lord is on my
Oh
side.
my God, what happened?
Here, pour some water on you.
Thank you. I think my gingerbread house was built by the Natural Science Club, and yours is
Yeah.
the Southern Merchants.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna
so
take a
pretty.
big bite out of mine. What?
Just the way your jaw, like, unhinged to get all...
We'll be right back.
Well, thank y'all so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Jordan had to leave a little bit early. You know, he couldn't stick with us, but I'm here to. Sorry, I thought I heard sleigh bells. Who could that be? Santa!
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes. Okay. What, you can't see me. It is I.
Okay.
What do you want for Christmas, young man?
Do you think I could sit in your lap?
Oh, you can sure try. There's a lot of layers there. Okay, come here. Come sit in Santa's lap.
I don't really know how.
Get on my lap!
I don't know how to approach this. Okay.
Okay. Come. There we go. Get over here. So you, young lad, what would you like for Christmas?
Let me take my time and really think this one through. Maybe
Maybe you want a dolly?
maybe a strong father figure of some kind.
Santa can't fix those problems, young boy. I'm not your therapist.
Or maybe I could use a new therapist this year.
Oh, yeah. Clearly it isn't working. You're really leaning back there, Mike.
I'm trying to stay on your
Oh,
lap.
God, it's so warm. Oh, God. Well, everyone, it's been a wonderful year making content for viewers like you.
It has been. I agree. We've only recently reflected on everything that we've done together and with you and realized how much we did. Like the amount of stuff we did was crazy. We totally changed the setup of the podcast. We did a collaboration for the first time. We relied on our own sense of humor instead of our guests.
Yeah.
It didn't go well. It didn't go well, but we are trying. We're trying.
Yeah.
And it's just been really exciting to have a project that's been this long term and we've put so much time into, and it's great to see that people are enjoying it. And so we say thank you.
Thank you.
To viewers like you.
That's you.
That's you. You are viewers like you.
Whether you've been with us when we had no subscribers
Or
been
when
with
we
us
had
when
a
we
couple.
currently have 500.
Woo!
Over 500. That's crazy. Thank you for watching. We don't know what the next year has in store.
We've got a couple ideas that are a brewing. We've got some theories, some things we might test out, and I think we're probably going to take a little break towards the beginning of the year to really decide what direction we want to move with things, and also give ourselves some time to check out some independent projects that we've been thinking about for a while. So there is more to come, is all we'll say for now.
But if you don't see us for a few months, please don't unsubscribe.
Please, God.
Please, God.
Please, God.
God and
Please
Christian heaven above.
stay here.
Please. So
Look at him.
I'm trying.
Santa will do anything for you.
It is getting very warm. So if you could keep your last speech kind of brief, that would be great.
Okay. In case we don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Good night.
This is Close Contact.
Jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the field we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleigh song tonight. Jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bell, jingle all